guys, welcome back to another episode of Unmotivated. We're back here with our guy from Iron Sharp K9, Stan the Dog Man. Today he dressed up like look, I ain't gonna go there. And we've got
professional.
A professional dog man. He put on that polo. But we've got a Better Best Dog here. And you know, the topic today is depression. How many times have you not felt like yourself, felt low, felt like giving up, felt like quitting, or actually quit and didn't know how to get out of a funk? Is the things that we're going to try to cover here. And, you know, a lot of times as a man in general, I don't care what color you are, we don't often have the community to support being down on ourselves when everyone's kind of dependent on us. So if you get punched in the face, get up. You break your leg, you'll survive. You've been shot. I hope if you didn't die, keep living. You know, you keep going down the line. You say, where does a man go and find peace and even strength in times and moments of darkness? Well, I could tell you right now, there are very few people I could call to get up if I was down. Very few people I could call to get down. So, Stan, you said you want to talk about depression. Why is that an important topic to you?
I think that's when my life really changed. Like we talked about on the last podcast, when I tore my meniscus, like I couldn't walk. And then you start feeling helpless. And I think that's when I went into a depression, and it was just kind of like a downward spiral that just didn't have an end. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Yeah. And then I know a lot of people suffer from that. You know, it's not just me, and people don't want to talk about it, and they try to pretend that they're okay. I literally saw something on Facebook the other day where some girl killed herself, and then like you see her on Facebook and you don't expect her to be quote unquote depressed, but she's going through stuff and she didn't want to be here anymore. So if we can do anything like to help somebody get out of that, because you need people like Trevor, you need people like Jemarcus, and all of these people that are going not allow you to stay there, but give you something to help you get out. And then that's even just hey, let's go eat. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's even like on last week I was a little sick, and I wasn't saying I was depressed, but I was in like a little, and Trevor's like, bro, come up here. We're going to do a podcast. Just come on. And it's like, okay. And I started feeling better after that, because we still got work to do.
Yeah. And that goes back to being, you know, a man. It's unfortunate that, you know, and mind you, Stan could have stayed on and been like, yo, my man. He could be like, I don't want to get anybody sick. I don't feel good. Everybody got sick after that, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was down for a count for 2 days.
Now, me, I have a very strong immunity, so I'm like, I know I was going to be fine. But poor everybody else, bless their heart. They was sick as two dogs. So at anywho, Money, if you could, talk a little bit about a moment in time where you maybe have dealt with depression and, you know, what you did to get out of your funk.
Yeah, you know, for me, I mean, I think the one thing I really wanted to talk about was definitely identifying it, because, you know, like Stan said, most people don't even realize, or people don't have that support system where they can just kind of go and talk about whatever's going on and have somewhat of a release, and maybe even seek guidance. For me personally, one time when I didn't realize it until years later when I reflected back on that moment, it was a time early on in my son's life. He was about 1 to 2 years old. Me and the mom are going through a whole bunch of stuff, and you know, she's preventing me from seeing him and all this kind of stuff. So we're going back and forth about that. And all I just want to do is just see my kid. That's it. I just want to see him so I can spend time with it. But she's making it super difficult to happen. And, you know, at the time, still drinking and partying. So what did I lean into? I leaned heavy into the drinking side of things. You know, and I really went down that road, drinking every night after work, you know, just trying to figure out how to, you know, even, you know.
Make the pain subside.
Exactly. And, you know, and then it really, really set in. What forced me to have to kind of really rethink things is, you know, come home one night, you know, rent wasn't getting paid. So what happened? Eviction on the door. Ooh. Power's out.
Ooh. Damn.
Like, you know, I mean, so I'm sitting here after work, you know, couldn't even go out to drink because, you know, broke at this point.
Ain't got no money.
Ain't got no damn money.
You drank yourself into a corner.
Exactly. And, you know, you're sitting here inside of this apartment. It's quiet. Like, and when, you know, when your power's out, I'm going to try to tell you right now, when you say you can hear everything, I mean, you can hear everything.
It's funny because you hear the little buzz when the electricity
exactly. When you know, that refrigerator's running, all those little things.
They matter, don't they?
They do, man. And then so I'm sitting here in this apartment by myself, you know, just drinking basically what I had at the house. And then, you know, just crying, man, in the middle of the floor because I'm like, I didn't know what to do. All I wanted to do was see my kid, but I leaned too heavy to drink it, or I couldn't even pay my bills. And then now I got an eviction notice. and and I had no idea who to turn to.
Man.
I was like, that was probably one of the lowest points of my life because I was like, yo.
Did you know Trevor at this time?
No.
I knew
He knew
him,
me,
but
he
we
didn't know me
weren't.
like this.
We weren't. This is during the time where we were, doing our own things.
Yeah.
And
He's like, you didn't know to call.
yeah, exactly. I didn't. I had.
Yo,
This is
this is
yeah. And that's the thing. Like I said, 18, 19 when we originally met, and we were hanging out then, and then we eventually went our own ways and our own paths. And this is during that time when I was on my own path.
So how old were you at the time?
At the time, I was about 25, 26.
Ooh, that was 10 years ago, man.
Exactly, because my son was born when I was 25. Like I said, I was dealing with all this when he was about 1 to 2 years old.
Jeez.
And, so like I said, here I am, a dad who wants to try to be a dad, but I can't be a dad because I'm being prevented from being a dad. And then I turned to the only thing that I really knew in terms of how to cope with those emotions and feelings. Drinking. Then it leads to, me spending all my money on that, where then I can't even pay my rent. So I'm getting evicted, power's out, and I'm just in this apartment by myself, and I have no idea who to call or even talk to on how to handle the situation.
Would you say depression is an emotion?
Potentially. I mean, at the time, like I said, I didn't know what was going on at the moment in terms of how I was handling it. I didn't even realize I was potentially depressed, but when I turn back and I reflect on that moment, I would definitely say, at the time, what I felt was it was pure emotion. And I mean, I felt the lowest of the low of how you could feel. You're like, yo, how did it even get to this?
Yeah.
Science at times defines it as a chemical imbalance in the brain, which then, you can't control it. I met a woman named Tuha who was super successful, and she said she was one of the people who didn't believe depression was a thing until her family got the best of her, and she couldn't get up. They turned on her, and she's, in her 50s, and for, let's just say, 40 plus years of her life, she had lived on a high, just life is good. And then in a dark moment, if her life flips upside down and she didn't know, she couldn't get up. And mind you, man, the mind's a terrible thing to waste and not be in control of, but real depression will keep you in the bed, man. So, it's not something that's discussed in the Black community, especially. And if you are depressed, then who do you talk to? And if you do need therapy, you're like, you go just bet on the Lord. But
Exactly.
God ain't gonna pull me out of this one. I'm sorry, buddy. Oh, he could do anything. He probably could, but at this moment in time, I need to talk to somebody.
Yeah. You almost become like robotic too, because at that time I was just going through the motions of life.
And there you go too. So one of the people I will have on is my guy Manny. And I think even people will think that depression looks like being sad. There are people who are depressed that are walking around with a smile on their face every day.
That's exactly what I was doing, man. Going to work with a smile.
That was me.
Yeah.
That was me until it wasn't.
Exactly.
And then like one day it just seems like there's a straw that just break the camel's back. Like it's simple as like you get a flat tire. And it's just like fuck everything. Like I mean, and it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
So again, if you were going to identify then, because I don't think you even answered that.
Yeah.
Well, how did you identify? I mean, and mind you might not identify it till now.
No, that's the thing.
It might like, oh damn, I was depressed as fuck.
Yeah. And
how did you identify it?
And that's the thing is like, well, I was reflecting on it, mind you. This is years later when I realized. In the moment, I didn't realize I was depressed. I just had to figure out how. All right, where am I moving next to? And I just got to figure out. I'm just trying to get through life at this point. So it took me a while before I actually really came out of that depression, and then that was literally not until almost a year or so later when I got my last DUI.
And mind you, people, he was on number 4.
Number 4.
Still
drinking, still, me and the baby mama kind of made up a little bit during that time frame, but we were still. Our relationship was built on alcohol, to be clear. So, like, that was still not even the type of environment I still wanted my son to come up in. And then when, I get that last DUI and I have to wear an ankle monitor where I can now no longer drink for 9 months, and I finally...
He can't even use mouthwash.
Exactly. Like, couldn't use mouthwash. If you got sick, you couldn't take, NyQuil or Dayquil. Like, it was heavy, man.
That thing reads all types of behaviors. Anything in association with liquor, alcohol, or percentage increase in your bottom line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, I didn't come out of it until, that, happened, and I finally gained some clarity for once in my life because I'm sober.
Yeah.
And, so I'm like now looking back and I'm like, yo, think something has to change.
So here's the question both of you can answer. So what is depression then? What is it? Because if it's smiles, if it's sadness, if it's dark thoughts, if it's light thoughts, if it's walking through smiling, shaking hands, going to work every day, making sure the bills are paid, if it's looking at the bills, them not getting paid, and you still acting like everything's okay, how do you even define it?
I
what
think
the fuck
it's
is
everything
depression?
I think it's everything you literally just said.
I know clearly I'm that good.
Yeah.
But I mean, to you guys, to be clear, like what would you say depression is?
I think depression is if you're lost
Yeah.
I think when I was depressed, I didn't know what I was going to do next.
You still don't.
Yeah, but I don't think I have some type of direction now.
Yeah.
Before, like I
Yeah.
told you, I didn't go. I went to college because I got a scholarship. I didn't even care about class.
That's
whatever.
a typical. That's a typical nigga thing, people. And I say this respectfully because even Stan, who was raised in a good environment where a dad was military and he traveled and
Well, that was what I was gonna do. Go to school, graduate, become an officer, and go to the military. That was the plan. That was the goal because that's what my dad did. It's a good career.
But see, the plan, the goal, and the dream are all three different things. So you can get depressed trying to live up to someone else's dream because you never got the dream on your own. And the one thing that my people made me do is they made me have my own dreams and thoughts.
And that's, I think, the way if you meet my dad, you're gonna be like, bro, that's not your dad. Y'all are complete opposites. And I did that like intentionally because everybody, like, I'm Stanley the second, right? And I even have an older brother, and he's not Stanley second. So like, it's kind of weird, but like everybody expected me to be him, and I'm not him by any means. So like,
Well, you probably are in some form or fashion. I mean, I know your dad has been supportive and loving and caring and charismatic, I'm sure. And I mean, I saw on Top Dog, he was there when you went to Top Dog. So they're not Stanley about face, salute, military, but you are probably the best parts of your dad, and at times maybe even some of the worst parts because you're consistent, you're there for your family. And I know stuff that we won't get into right now, but we'll get into another episode when you start talking about when was the first phase and fight. And look, we can't get into it somewhere here, but you go, you'd be surprised how much of that goodness. My dad's a terrible person, people. But here's also the facts. I'm as good as I am because of my dad. That's the irony is, as awful as he is, had he not done what he done, we wouldn't be sitting here today because there was no other direction in my life.
Yeah.
Or anybody else putting a foot on my neck, creating expectations, forcing me to read, write, and apply things, speak clear, have a definitive. I mean, he was upset when I tried to run like another guy. This guy named Marius Mitchell, he went to the Olympics. He ran on our summer track team. And we all start running like him, just imitating him, right? But we would do it in a meet. My dad was so mad, he made me run about 100 hills backwards. He said, you know what happens when you run backwards? You can't fake that form. He said, you're going to have to figure this one out. and when he drove me to this area, it was nobody there. And I was like,
That sounds awful.
This nigga's going to kill me today. But it was for real life, a secluded area where I had to run uphill backwards as many times. I'm not kidding. It had to be over 50 times because he thinks like I think now. And I'm like, yo, how many reps you gonna do? Nigga, 100. Really? Absolutely. That's just a warm up, buddy. So I've said that to say, I have my kids, and when I say my kids, Danny and Rock write a letter to the father that they never really knew. And you think about that, what that does to a kid whose father's never been involved. And Rock's dad was actually killed at 2. So I said, do you think that you're no part of this man who doesn't exist? There's a part of you that you'll never understand because you never got to know your dad. So if you had to write him a letter today, and mind you, this is me at 23, 35 now. I had these kids write letters to the father that they didn't know to make sure and thank him. Thank that man for everything that you are because everything he couldn't be. Think about somebody like having you do that at 23 years. I'm 23 at the time. That's why when Money was in the car with me, when D-Lo said, boss, how did you do this at the age you was at when you was just pouring into us?
Yeah.
I said, man, I was raised different, bro. I was raised to think and be something I don't understand to this day. I'm starting to understand my role in this life, this world. And I've said it, I could change the world. It's starting to become very believable. Very believable because we were doing so when we look at depression collectively, it's not you being down and out. It's not you just being down on yourself. It's you sometimes looking people in the face and smile like everything's okay. And sometimes it is being down and out and locked in a room and not want to talk or see anybody or not eating, losing a bunch of weight. But I just had to interject there and say, you'd be surprised how much of your dad you actually are like, because when I looked at them cut to him and, the Top Dog thing, that man looked like he wanted to be there and he was proud of you.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So and I'm sure you've had the same energy for your kids. You're like,
well, I guess let me rephrase that.
there you go. Look, they get different.
Let me dial back a little bit.
That's why you can't sit down and talk to me. You got damn.
This is why I like sitting down and talking to you because you make people think in a different light.
Yeah.
Because you have an outside, non-biased perspective on shit.
Always.
So when I was younger, I think I didn't want to be like him because I didn't feel like I could fill those shoes. Now that I'm an adult and I have my kids, yes, I do see a lot of similarities, and I do appreciate my dad for like everything he's taught me. You know, the respect, the consistency. Like we even set our clocks 10 minutes early because if you're on time, you're late. Like you need to be early because you never know. You always plan for it, and it's like those, like you said, it's the good things and it's the bad things because sometimes like I want to plan and have like direction, but then it's like sometimes you just got to believe that you're gonna get there and bet on your own self. So it's been a struggle trying to find my voice, my way. And again, I like being around these kind of people because they challenge me to be better. And so, yeah.
And that's an incomplete thought because I think even still, you come in contact with someone like me, all of a sudden your brain is like, oh shit, he's collectively putting it together and it comes to a halt. But at the same time, I can't. It's kind of like in the Bruce Almighty movie where Morgan Freeman says you can't pray for rain and be mad when you have to walk through the mud, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, it's like, I'm telling you, my dad's a bad person, but the truth is, had that bad person not shown me, who to be, in a sense, and maybe who not to be. My buddy Rich sent me a meme one time, and it was two guys raised by the same person. One was an alcoholic, one became a police officer, and if you ask both the brothers, well, how did you choose this path? They both said, I watched my father. Mm-hmm. One never had a sip of alcohol because he hated the idea of being like the man he didn't want to be. And one drank every day because that's all he knew. And they both saw the same thing every day until they didn't, Yeah.
So would you say being depressed is a choice?
I actually don't think it's a choice directly. Mm-hmm. Because what I've learned is, and from people like you and even Jemarcus and Jamal as well, you guys actually think they're good people in this world.
I'm learning. That is
definitely learning.
Few and far in between.
Very much so.
I still think there are good people in the world.
That's my point. You're going to justify. That's my point.
I feel like I'm a good person. Sometimes
you're doing exactly what I was setting you up to do. Buddy.
Yeah,
you're doing exactly that. I don't ever tell anyone I'm a good person.
Yeah.
What happens is I'll tell you, look, I'm not a good person. Don't ever trust anything comes out of my mouth. If you fuck up, it'll be our last conversation. So if you get your heart, I don't give second chances. I don't believe in making a bunch of fucking mistakes. Yeah. If you gonna fucking stab me, just tell me. I'll take the fucking hit, but just look me in the face and be upfront about it. So I've never led with it. I've said many times, guys, I'm not a fucking good person. Don't ever get that confused. I'll fucking step in your mama's store if I got to get where I'm going. But here's the truth. I do want what's best for people, right?
Yeah.
So in your mind, it's perceived like, oh, this is a good guy. I'm fucking not, bro. I have to work every day to be halfway decent. And if I weren't surrounded with people like the ones I'm here with right now, oh, my God, bro. I would be like my father who's a fucking terrorist. But my point is I don't believe the world's a good place.
Yeah.
I don't believe that people are good people.
No.
I think people do good and bad things because good energy cannot be created and bad energy can't be created nor destroyed. What I'm betting on is at some point someone's going to fall victim to something I don't understand. And it could be their personal choices, could be something they see they need, could be them leveraging me, fucking me over. And you never know a person until they fuck you. Yeah. But let me be very clear. I don't presume in any form or fashion that even Stan's good, because if you ask Stan and he's right here, I told him, I'll pay you $2 million to go away. Like, think about that. Somebody meets this guy and they like, I like this guy. I like his energy. I said, I know how to replicate this. He does it. You tell me every one of your processes, which I could write up at this point in time on my own. and I'll pay you to never speak to you again. That was the conversation, was it not?
Yeah, what, 2.5 years ago?
Yeah. And I didn't hesitate. I didn't fret. I didn't smile. I didn't frown. I just was being dead ass serious. I have a vision for Stan, but even more importantly, for packaging who he is as a person. I said, man, if I can get about 100 people who got that kind of energy, and realistically about 20 people who got that same energy and even in a sense integrity, I can change this. And I don't need him. I just need to keep watching him. And if I watch him, I know how to replicate it. He doesn't, but I do. But let me be very clear, because I'm not in the business of fucking people over. If I am, I'm like, yo, I'm going to stab you in the back, but I'm going to give you enough money to leave me alone. and you never saw it coming because you couldn't see it anyway. So if you couldn't see it and I gave you $2 million, I wouldn't made $200 million. You go, oh, damn. I should have just figured that one out and stayed with that guy. So Jemarcus, as you've heard him, again, excerpts, I'm never, nor will I ever tell anybody I'm a good person. I'm not, people. No. Don't get that confused. I want what's best for you. And just like a good coach, nobody thinks their coach is good until they get older, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that dude, he was such a good dude, man. I should have listened more. Yeah, bro. Because he wasn't trying to be good. If he was trying to be good, then that means he was trying to be liked. If you're trying to be liked, then he wanted to win your favor. He wanted to win your favor, you would have got away with shit. But he wouldn't have a job had you been on your bullshit. Because the minute he starts losing, everything becomes in question. And what we cannot do as men is be questioned about where we stand, who we are, and what we're trying to achieve. So, depression. Mm-hmm. What does it look like? It's like beautiful and ugly at the same time.
Yeah.
and the whole time, you're growing. And if you can go through it, you never really get rid of it because some part of it exists.
Yeah.
That was going to be my next question. Do you feel like it reoccurs? It comes back?
Oh, for sure. For sure, man. I mean, there's moments I have my moments. There's not a day where I don't think about my son, and all I just want to do is just want to be a part of his life. Right. That's it. And, I'll have those moments, where, I might be wearing a smile, but back in my mind, especially if his mother and I had, a disagreement or something like that, that's something I still got to walk through life with, even though I know that, I still got stuff that needs to get done.
So what do you do to get out of it now?
The rules are simple, man. I'll take this from Trez's book.
Just keep moving.
You gotta stay moving, and that's for real. You gotta stay moving because if you sit there long enough and start sulking and really thinking about it, then that's where it starts. The thoughts start wandering. You start thinking about all these things you really don't need to be thinking about. Mm-hmm. But that's why I love coming here every single day because no matter what, like the moment I get here, from the moment I get here to the moment I leave, there's something going on.
Something's
happening. Whether we're recording something, whether we're editing something, whether I'm training or working with the dogs, whether I'm having a conversation with
feeding
Ma,
crickets,
whether we're on the podcast,
some chicken,
whether we're building a cricket den, something, man. There's always something going on until whether I'm editing until the moment I walk out this door.
And you know what I mean?
And even then, it's still something
going on. There's still more going on. Exactly, because I still go back to the crib, and I still got more going on over there too. So
you go, damn, bro, that was a good day. Because I knew that something was going to change, and shout out to my guy Chris Moore, and he had, he paid homage to both of you guys, and mind you, he said, as he said in the video, he said, y'all don't know this, but 2 years ago, Trev walked in my house and gave me on paper a plan. He said, Stan and Jemarcus, they did the plan. He said, they're growing. He said, I'm not. and I've got the clip because that's a very real clip. If you ever meet me, I genuinely want what's best for people. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that the world's a good place or people are good people because if you were good, you would be good to yourself. And good to yourself doesn't mean that you want people to like you. I don't want to be so good that everybody got to like me. I'm like, no, I appreciate the hate. As Malcolm X said, if you have no haters, basically, you probably ain't got that much success. And you have to be able to deal with both of them. So if we didn't have to deal with the hate, then we wouldn't be sitting here today. But what I found, as my favorite Martin Luther King quote is, I've decided to stick with love because hate is too great of a burden to bear. That one I do know wholeheartedly. And you go, I'm not a loving person. What I do know is if I lean into the truth, admiration, being around people who are relatively integral, want to grow and be better, and I choose to lead them at a decent pace, I said, we'll be okay. And in those moments of depression, like Stan's saying, let me call Trev. Mm-hmm. Let me call the voice of reason because I don't look at things emotionally. Oh, man, you need to go correct the nigga. Like, why did that nigga get within 5 feet of you in the first place? You didn't assess that he was nothing like you. You didn't assess. See, here's the thing. I don't expect Jemarcus to be as good as me. I don't expect Stan to be as good as me. That's unrealistic, right?
Yeah.
If everyone possessed what I possess, we wouldn't be here as well. So I had to learn years ago, like, 100% of people ain't going to think like you, bro. And you go, okay, let me calm the fuck down then.
Yeah.
Because I heard Guy Kawasaki say in an interview, to explain how Steve Jobs thinks would be to tell a fish what it is to fly. So imagine you got a fish at your house. You go tell him, hey, do you know you can fly if you had this? And the fish is looking at you. You're like, this nigga don't know what I'm saying. And the fish really don't know what you're saying. But point is, That's what it would be like, as they said, to describe how Steve Jobs, how he think. So you go, am I supposed to believe that they're going to think like me ever? No. Do I believe that they could be better and that they could grow parts of where I don't have their compassion. I don't have their humanity. I mean, that's a big thing. I told Jemarcus plenty. I said, "But you're a better man than me," and I do mean it, because you got about 2 good seconds, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm gone, nigga." I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. This makes no sense.
Yeah.
But these 2 people, they would give people a chance and be fair and try to help, and then be depressed and calling me.
Well, that's one thing I'm changing in 2024. I don't want to be
and that's something that I've definitely learned along the way from being around Trev so much that, I mean, the circle is definitely like less than 5 people for sure.
Yep.
And tell them too, though, Jemarcus sits next to me in a lot of spaces right now. And so, how many good people have you met?
Man.
Because of just being in the room with me.
Man, I mean, it's countless. It's countless, because it's endless as long as I keep, as long as I stay around, because every person I've come in contact, man, every room we've walked into, I mean, it's just, I appreciate the experiences, because, you get to meet some really, really good people, and you get to hear all these different perspectives, when it comes to life. And I mean, it's mind blowing at times. And, I'm like, yo, I remember when we were just talking about this the other day, like I said, I was like, yo, I mean, I didn't think my life was interesting. And then you turn around and you start looking at all the things, and I'm like, yo, I retract said statement, man, because that's a load of bullshit if I even want to remotely believe that. Because I'm like, all the stuff that happens and I get to experience and see, and the people I get to meet, it's been unreal thus far. It's been unreal.
I do wish I was in Jemarcus's shoes.
I'll tell you right now. Hey, and you guys hear the expressions, how, Reed Hoffman and those guys at times, talking about just being like the facts guy, right?
Yeah, man, there's an interview I sent my guy Jack, and Jemarcus has watched it too, where the guy who created LinkedIn, sold it for $67 billion, said had he got a chance to be in the room with Michael Andreessen and just make faxes, he would have done that back in the day. Y'all don't know the power. And, for those people who love art and design, Kanye West, who was Kanye West, went and interned, didn't get paid, at Louis Vuitton. So you think the best of them have taken steps back to really learn and adopt the ideology of being better men and designers or whatever they're doing. You go, wow, there's a lot of power in volunteer work. So, I lean into the fact I'm not a good person, but I want what's good for everybody. And mind you, people, good does not mean making these fuckers happy.
Yeah.
That's the part you're confused about. Like, when you think good, you're like, everybody's ha, 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 ha. No. Good is me saying, do you know you're supposed to be worth this? What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
That's a good coach. It's like, yo, we should have won the fucking Super Bowl. Why didn't we fucking win? Because you fuckers didn't prioritize defense or offense or your position or, being a team player, whatever the case may be. That's good. The good things, we associate good with, smiles, laughter, and happy. Good is waking up every day with a fucking purpose. Knowing that you're supposed to do something with your fucking life and that you've got a few people depending on you. And both these cases, meaning Stan and Jemarcus, they've got families, they got daughters and sons. And I told Chris this. I mean, I think I said it on our interview. I said, you guys will always have more to live for than I'll have to die for. And as long as you have a life force looking up to you, you've got to be the best you could be. Yeah. And me, I don't want any fucking family. I'm good on fucking friends. I fucking can't stand kids. So you go down the line and you say, so it's never gonna be me. and it could be, and I would be just fine. But the truth is I've communicated that effectively. Like, yo, bro, I'm not gonna pretend like I give a shit. But what I do give a shit about is that these men become better men. So when we look at depression and the dark side of it, you go, for one, the first question I think oftentimes is, where do I turn? I don't feel okay, and I'm not a female, so I don't really live in my feelings, but I too have dealt with moments of darkness, and I think the one relative moment where I was probably at the darkest place is I built this thing called T-Fit, Think Fit 365, and a kid named Andre Maloney took his last breath playing football, and I remember the Huffington Post reached out and said, hey, I posted a video on YouTube, and it was just his interview. And mind you, I did it because I didn't want him to sound like a dumb nigger. That's the truth. Say, hey, all of them had to get in front of the camera back in the day. Camera Hey, hold on, what we about to do? I've got all the interviews. I said, boy, I'm fussing at him. Like, you're never going to get to where I think you're going to go and sound like a dumb Negro. It's not going to happen. Not with me. So we practice getting from the camera and communicating. So in this case, Dre had a stroke on the football field and he died. And, I go, fuck, I didn't sign up for this, man. I'm never going to forget editing this video and just bawling. And I'm sitting in a guy named Josh Lork's house, and I'm editing. I'm like, I can't even stop myself from crying. And I go, what the fuck? And it sent me down a spiral, man, because I hadn't, mind you, signed up to do all these things for these kids. I don't even like kids. And then you save these kids' lives. You pour into them. He's got 5, 6, 7 offers, 26 on the ACT. You've been there through everything. And he's gone. And literally in 24 hours.
How old were you at this time?
Probably 24, 25, man.
Yeah, so man. At the very beginning.
Oh, at the very beginning, bro. and that's the downside. So you go, fuck, bro. I didn't sign up for this, man. And it's still to this day fucks with me. But that's why we're talking about it lingering. You go, fuck, man. Yeah. Dre should be here. He was a 17-year-old kid. Even Coach Fraze, shout out to Coach Fraze. You guys don't know him, but he said, T-Fit, I never lost a kid this early, man. And this was a good fucking kid. Like, I don't say that lightly. I know some bad kids, and at some point it was so dark. I said, why didn't you take this kid? This fucker sucks. This fucking shitty fucking kid. I ain't gonna say his name, but I said it back in the day, nigga. I was like, fuck this nigga. This nigga would be like, I get it. but and that's one of those moments where somebody says, hey, well, it was God's plan. I'm like, how do you justify a 17-year-old boy who wanted nothing but good for his family dying? It still ain't gonna make sense. So when we look at depression and we think, how do we identify it? What are we doing to deal with it? Who do we call when we're like engulfed in it? Mm-hmm. And how we get out of it? You go, fuck, where does it begin? Well, in Stan's case, as he just looked at Jemarcus, you didn't have draft? What the fuck? Yeah, I would have called this nigga immediately.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and mind you, at other moments in my life, I have caught him in those moments. Very much so. Like when he was around, I leveraged that. I remember one time I'm just going through this mode at work, and there's this cloud that was just this surrounding me when I was still bartending at Del Frisco's, and it was like I just couldn't shake it. I was like, I just knew I was meant to do more, and I was working through the beginning stages of real estate at the time, and I really wanted to put my focus and pour into that, and then. Just the bar thing was not serving me whatsoever. So I'm over here. I'm being a dick to everybody at work. I'm over here just like and so one day I had to call Trev. I felt like there's just pressure just built up, and I called him, man. And I was like, yo, man, why do I feel like this? And he was like, yo, remember that one time I asked you if what was the question about the suffocating thing?
Oh yeah. So Jemarcus' irony is this is a bad day for him. By the way, he was like, he thinks he's stressed out, right? I'm like, this nigga don't know stress. Nobody ever held this nigga's neck to the wall. Exactly. Literally, my dad has choked me out, people. And so you go, I said, have you ever felt like you're suffocated? Mm-hmm. In his mind he had, but he hadn't physically done it. So in this day, the fucking wheel rolls off. Everything that could go wrong just went wrong in this nigga's day. And I asked him that question this morning, and and it went south.
It was like you set that day up, bro. It was like, this day, this is going to happen.
But gotcha. But fast forward, you go, bro, you don't know what it's like to really struggle, because in his case, he had a mother to call respectfully and other people to get him out. And we did the numbers as we talked in other episodes where he spent other people's money in his own, over $150,000 fighting poor choices. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's like, I made a lot of bad choices and it cost me this much. I could have invested in 10 properties by now and made 3 times. Well, I could be worth $15-20 million had I been taught or looked at things different versus just let me go out and keep having a good time. Mm-hmm. So in this case, when you ask him that question, have you ever really been suffocated before? Mm-hmm. And the suffocation, it's not just life. It's, for me, I respect and love my dad to death, man, when I was a kid. And even still, I talked about it on another episode. Here I am, 35 years old, and I'm not, my dad is one of those people I had to block, because if the nigga calls, I'm probably still going to try to help him. And it's like that one person who has this power over you, right? So even when chicks be like, who hurt you? You did this thing. You're like, hey, baby. Hey, none of y'all could have do the damage that was done to me from the people that I loved wholeheartedly. Mm. So by the time I got this, I'm like, fuck everybody. And I mean it. And everybody around me, they believe it. So when he said these things, I'm like, yo, my man, You got to do better. But if we are dealing with depression or a dark time, fucking hit my line. You know what I mean? Hit my line. I've been there. I live there. I'm depressed every day that I wake up, if we're being honest, bro. Because I don't want to do anything that I'm doing. I don't want to be any more than I have to be. And here's the challenge. I have to be more than I am every day. Think about how depressing that is. How do you wake up, and I've said this many times on my story, and be better than Elon Musk every day? And I don't mean me. I'm saying Elon Musk wakes up every day and says, I got to be better than Elon was yesterday, better than Jeff Bezos was yesterday. Think about the greatest people who influence how we operate in our lives. Steve Jobs, Apple, etc. You have to wake up and be better, literally better than you were every day of your life. Oh my God, guys! Imagine.
So
that
how do you cope with it?
Well, in this case, I have people like you who continue to inspire me to live for a little bit more. I've now exposed myself, and I don't mean put my dick online. I mean I'm no longer invisible. See, you guys knew the value of me because it was just you guys around me. Now, you just witnessed it less than 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Where someone says, I appreciate those tips and everything. Now I'm too visible to be invisible. So even if I stop today, for the next year or two, that's all I'd give it. People might, if I never post another video about dogs and training and American bullies and Jack Russells, whatever we got going on in the future, people would probably be like, bro, I remember when you used to be on that shit, bro. I still go back and watch those videos.
Nah, somebody will still post them. They repost them. I mean, you on Facebook, but you ain't on Facebook.
That's my point, nigga. Them niggas be leveraging my ass, boy, the shit out of me.
They're probably getting paid too, bro.
Nigga, they definitely
getting paid.
I think they're almost to 100K on Facebook now.
Oh my God, them niggas gonna make the real fit bully appear, nigga. Niggas getting
They gonna say it 3 times in the mirror. Fit bully, fit bully, fit bully.
and that candy man, nigga. but you guys get my point. So every day for me is a day of depression and being I'm disappointed in the world we live in, and I look collectively, and I want so much for people, man, that I have to really manage myself because it does stress me out. Wanting more for you, and wanting more for Jemarcus, and wanting you guys to get it, and you guys having to go through your own process to get there. Versus me, just like I wish they could just fucking shit. They can't see it, but if I speed it up and you don't figure it out, and get there by way of some direction versus this is what you do, you might not never get it.
Yep.
And I need it to be of value to you. And value oftentimes, believe it or not, is something you define, not me. And so it's like me and you guys' life. I didn't tell you that I was a value, right? I never said I'm the most valuable person.
Never.
I've told you I was leverageable. Fucking leverage me, man.
Yeah.
But you guys say, look, that's one of the most valuable people I know. He don't go and say that to nobody, but he pours in, he supports, we fucking get on the camera, he challenges thought, I get better every time. That's one of the most valuable people I fucking know. And it's because of who I choose to be every day. And mind you guys, great motivating factors, man.
Yeah.
To be clear, super motivating for me. But there's never a day where I wake up and I want to be this good, man. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I just don't know how to be any less either.
So what would you tell somebody who's suffering through depression right now?
For one, shout out to Stan for even considering me when he's had some dark moments. And I will say this, and he can tell the story if he wants to at some point. But Stan walked me through, going through therapy a little bit. And he said, the therapist asked, who would be one of those first calls? He said, Trev, and he's got a mom and dad. But if you want reason and clarity, you say, I'm going to call the guy who wants what's best for me, is not going to hold anything back.
Yep.
And I think Jemarcus has been there when Boyers called.
Yep.
And many of my kids called because they want the truth.
We all have.
Believe it or not, they're men at the end of the day, and they're like, yo, I don't want to hear my dad tell me everything's going to be okay. Boss, tell me what the fuck I need to do.
Yep.
And let me be very candid. Hopefully my call on my heart. Hopefully my heart gets to come, and that's Elijah Boyer. And he said I was there at his wedding, and he ended up having to get a divorce. And he called because everybody told him he should work through it, right? And even she said, well, you got to win me back. He was like, what?
Oh my God.
Let me be clear. And if I get Boyer to tell this story, and I'll sum it up real quickly. This is a kid who's a people pleaser and will do anything to make someone happy. When he married this person, he moved to Arkansas. He's a fucking he was working at a nuclear engineer plant. He's working 80 hours. She's going to school. He's paying for every fucking bill. They've got 2 dogs. She cheats, and the friend feels so bad. She goes, yo, I gotta say something. You're a good fucking dude. She cheated on you, man. He asked her about it. She acts like and so it was the most amicable thing he's ever done in terms of breaking up with a person, because even her family was like, what the fuck did you do? This is a good dude. And I'm telling you right now, him and I've got into it about girls he chose in high school, because he just was like, he's 100% in. And so that in itself could send somebody like me into depression, because I just want Boyer to be the best he can be. I'm saying that to say,
Boyer,
how do you get out of it? You need a me in your life.
Yeah.
And I need a you in your life. And in this case, there is no getting out of it. It's managing it, because 9 out of 10 things in this life are going to go fucking wrong.
But man, say.
If you are betting on things to work, that is not, I ain't never woke up and be like, oh, today's going to be perfect. I'm like, oh man, that was a good day. It didn't get too bad.
Bro, I don't think there's a day where you've given me the run of, yo, tomorrow we're going to do this, and this. And we get up and the first thing gets derailed because a phone call or something happens. And then like,
go here, and there,
and
bro.
the next thing you know, we over here on, in some random, high rise in downtown, but it's all for good reason.
All for good reason, people. So I go where I can grow, and all this stuff for guys like Jemarcus and others, it is eye-opening, because you go, how the fuck did you end up here? It's like, I chose to be somebody that most people don't understand, but if you listen to my guy Golden on one of the episodes, he says, Trev just doesn't like stupid people, and we're going on 10 years of being in contact and just friends and associates and business friends per se, but if I was going to give you any advice in just getting out of depression, I don't know that you ever do. And I saw something where Billy Bob Thornton talked about his brother dying, and he said, you never get over it. When you really love somebody, it is you just manage that emotion. And at times you're reminded vividly when you lose another person and that humanity comes in, you go, fuck, man, I don't know if I want to feel that again. So, if Stan or Jemarcus, did something that was out of the ordinary, would it send me into a depression? It would be very disappointing, very discouraging. It probably would depress me a little bit, because if you ask them both, what have I wanted from you guys, if anything?
Nothing, man. Just to be better.
Talk more on camera.
Just to be better, man.
Communicate better, nigga.
Just to simply be better is all it's been.
And it's constant conversation and communication where you go, I'm telling them, like, yo, you guys got to work on this. You got to do that. Just improve here. Think about it this way. So I'm thinking about where I want us all to be, not just myself. A lot of times you take on this leadership role and you say, man, I'm going to be the best out of everybody. All you niggas. I'm like, no, I need y'all to make my life easier.
Yeah.
I'll take the lead, but I need you all to be leaders as well. And I need help. I'm not remiss from that. So, Stan, that's a good question when you start asking about how to deal with depression. I think the world itself is still defining it. I don't know that there's a direct path to like dealing with whatever form of depression someone may be dealing with.
Would you say fitness is a good starter?
Scientifically speaking, they chemically broke down how just exercise, specific chemicals that go off in the body help reduce, depression in itself. Because, the simple saying is look good, feel good, right?
Yep. Yeah, and you're taking care of yourself.
And endorphins, it's a couple times you feel good, hitting some pussy. Definitely. I mean, I'm lying.
Nope.
And let me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Endorphins. Go look up what releases endorphins. When you eat, you feel good. When you fuck, you feel good.
Sure
and
do.
when you exercise, you feel good. You don't feel good in the moment, but you always feel better afterwards. You go, man, those are endorphins, right? And these positive things going off in the body like fireworks. You're like, feel like somebody, and then it goes away. So you can't fuck all day, you can't eat all day. And you definitely can't exercise all day because you would be fucked up. So you go, what do? Well, you need to make sure you're balancing the rest of your day, to the best of your ability, right?
Yep. But one thing about the workouts is I feel like it lingers. You may not feel exactly like that, but it like teeters down throughout the day.
But that goes back to mentality. You know how to apply it to the dogs. So you're not just exercising to look good. You're exercising because you've got dogs coming at you 30, 40 miles an hour chewing on your ass.
Facts.
Yeah.
So how does it linger? Because you're glad that when you got hit and turned left, you didn't tear your fucking ACL.
Shoot.
I'm lying?
Nah.
That's facts. That's facts.
These dogs are not
So
light.
it teeters in your case because being unfit in a suit that's like a sauna will have you disappointed in yourself. So imagine if you fucking you're 5'8", right? So imagine yourself 5'8", 205 right now, no muscle nigga in a fucking dog bite suit for 4 hours.
In the summertime?
Yeah, so
Bro,
you still
hats off to you on that, by the way.
you turn
I'm
around.
do it for one session. I'm over here dying.
So you go work out and then get beat up by a dog. You feel good about that workout? No, buddy. You're not. You're not lingering nowhere. You go, fuck this shit.
Nope.
I got to do something different. So you see my point?
Yep.
It depends on how you set up the rest of your life, not your day. But all that, literally, it fucking crosses over because of who you choose to be and how you apply that exercise and workout to the next part of your day.
It's funny you say that because people ask me, they're like, "Do you like working out?" I said, "No, I hate this shit
With a passion, bro.
but I
Me
have
too.
to. But I have to."
Yeah, yeah. It keeps me sane. It keeps me sane. And mind you, I don't like, I'm not gonna get in a fight with nobody. But I'm like, I can't be a bitch ass nigga. I just can't, bro.
Man.
I know I've already hit too many markers in my life. Be an old joke goes, man, back in the day, man, I did 400 pounds. I'm like, nigga, I could still do it. I just don't want to be that guy. He's like, I used to know. We still get after it, bro.
Yeah.
And mind you, when you look at bodybuilders and people who exercise, I worked out with a dude, fucked me up. I was probably 20. I might have been 2021. White guy said, hey, buddy. I was an urban active in Cleveland, Ohio. He says, man, you mind if I work out with you? I said, man, shit, feel free. I said, I'm going to go up in weight, though. He says, that's fine. And I'm not going to tell you that he got ass to grass, but we'll tell you this. There's a 65-year-old white dude who had a back brace on who squatted everything that I squatted. Did he have every muscle in the world? No, but when I put on 315 to squat, he fucking squatted it. That's the bottom line.
Damn.
And you go, yep, not stopping no time soon, bruh. But mind you, I do plan on traveling, hitting mountains, and enjoying life. No disrespect to people who are overweight or fat, but life gets a lot more difficult when you are unhealthy.
100%.
Yep. And that's just not going to be, that in itself leads to depression.
Yeah.
And then find you social media just makes it worse. He's like, oh, look at this pretty person living this wonderful life. But it's a statistic popped up recently where people under 24 or 30 and under, something like that, 30 and under, 24% of people who are 30 and under are exercising regularly and choose to live a healthy lifestyle. And the good and bad of social media is one thing, but I believe it's because of how visible social media's shine a light on exercise and weightlifting and the importance of it, right?
Yep.
So I can't, and that in itself is going back to what Stan said. It does prevent, in some sense, I think long-term depression. But then the other part, I think that comes before everything is being around the right people.
Yep.
Being in the right company, making some good choices, making some bad choices, learning from those choices and growing from those choices, right? So, guys, if we're looking at depression, and guys, I appreciate everybody's take on this and definitely your candor. What are the things you're going to do moving forward to stay from being depressed?
I mean, like Jemarcus said, stay moving. Basically, have goals, have plans. Financial markers that we need to hit, training markers we need to hit. By the end of the year, I want to have at least one other trainer working with me. I want to have my outline done, all of that stuff. The stuff we've been challenged here. That's going to keep me from being depressed because if I do it, it's going to help me long term. So I don't have to physically work every single dog that comes out. Yeah. Get beat up by these dogs coming at 30 miles an hour, hitting like a train.
I've seen it, bro. I've seen it. It's not a far-fetched thing, man. We've got the gauge out a few times, and you're like, damn, that dog could get up to 20 miles an hour and fucking 10, like 1, 2, 3, he's there. Like that a truck moving. So you go, the last thing you want to do is do that for the next 50 years of your life. Yep. It's not realistic, man. And mind you, my job is to make sure Stan starts, and Jemarcus, use your head more than anything, because it looks like we're doing a lot, and trust me, we are, people. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you to live in my head would drive somebody, they would shoot themselves. And I don't mean that. I was like, yo, how does these fools exist? Well, it could be a night like tonight where I'm like, I gotta go get food, I gotta go feed the dogs, I'm gonna do a live in a second. We done been out, we shot, we did videos, we fucking trained the dogs, Jemarcus trained the dogs, turn around. I'm gonna probably build some Legos, we're gonna jump on the game. And that was the day.
Bro, and that was before like noon. That was after afternoon because he had a whole morning too that he wasn't even here for.
Yeah, people. And it's one of those things where I repeat, this thing is only exhausting when you're doing things that are exhausting. And I'm not exhausted spending time with people who want to grow and be better. And so this has been a privilege
Yeah.
Just say to Lucifer, finally find some men who want to be, leaders in their own life. So, Stan wanted to talk about depression. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know if you have a community. I'm not going to tell you to contact me because I got enough people messaging me needing guidance. What I will tell you is I do hope, and I told this to somebody even earlier, you say, could you give me some advice? Literally, the message read, could you give me some advice? I kind of fell into becoming a breeder, and I don't know what that means, so I'm not going to ask. But I appreciate everything you put out. And I said, well, listen, take everything that you see that you believe could be applied to your world and use it. Second, find you a community that, you can learn from and grow with. But above everything, no matter what takes place, don't overthink it and just take care of the dog.
Boom.
I said so much. I said all those things. And that's a message I typed out. You go, damn. That'll have a person like, damn, that nigga made a lot of sense. Because I can't lean into being a person I can't be for them. It's like these two people, along with the others and the things we're trying to develop, they take a lot of energy, time, and effort. And I've saved great videos on leadership and how people perceive it at times. But depression's a real thing. I didn't used to be, I would say like this, and it's controversial to me because 50 Cent said this, and he said, depression is a privilege to some people. And I was like, man, fuck, that makes sense too. Because you're dealing with the mom, you come from the environments we come from. Woman got 3 kids, no money. She going to work, killing it every day. The kids are fed. Nobody's struggling to suffer. She's struggling. But she don't get to be depressed. She don't get to stop. Them kids got to eat every day. So in some cases, it could be a privilege, but then that goes back to what does it look like? Does it look like somebody down and out, or does it look like somebody just going through the motions? Or does it look like somebody doing the best they can with what they have to make sure nobody else gets depressed? Think about that. That motherfucker might not know what's happening. She's like, I'm going to make sure nobody else ever feels like this. That's the whole thing, right? So, at anywho, people, you guys want to hit him with any final words, man?
Yeah, no, like Stan said, man, you just definitely have some goals, have milestones, have things you're working towards. Definitely, try to identify whatever your purpose in life is. That's the one question I know Trev always asks everybody in some form or fashion is, what is your purpose in life? And, as I continue to be around all these different men and continue to learn all these different perspectives, things get a little bit more clearer every single day. The vision gets a little bit more clear on every single day. And then, you start to realize that things you thought were, impossible to reach, with a little bit of work and the right resources and people around you, they're very possible to attain and achieve.
Yep.
So, definitely make sure you got that, that purpose figured out or at least trying to figure it out, because that'll definitely give you some willpower to move forward and not to deal with whatever it is that's trying to bring you down.
Yep. I would say don't go looking for better people, become a better person, and those people are going to find you.
Boom.
I met Trevor probably about 1.5 years when I was like, okay, I need to be a better man. I need to believe in myself a lot more. And when I met him, it was at the perfect time. And I was never looking for somebody like Trevor or Jemarcus. It was bound to happen on the path we were going on. So It starts with you at the end of the day. If you're not a good person, or you're not trying to be a good person or a better person, let's say that, you're not going to get better people around you. And then when those people do challenge you to be better, put the work in.
Yeah. There you go.
And that's simple.
There you go, people. Listen, as always, this is the Unmotivated Podcast. And, one of my motivations is to manage my depression, to say the least. It's hard being somebody I don't want to be every day, and hard being something I've never seen. And to be clear, I've seen some good men, but not some great men. But the goal is to be a better man every day. Can't thank you enough for downloading, supporting, commenting, liking, potentially sharing this with somebody. I know the famous saying is, hey, I don't know who needs to hear this. I don't care who needs to hear this. What I do hope is that we said some things that improved the way in which you think and potentially even who you are. So as always, take care of yourself. Keep fighting, as the rule is, stay moving and good luck.
Boom.